I was gone for work for a few weeks. It is incredible how fast everything grew in my absence. I had left when the tomatoes were still little plants. With no one to train them up the ropes, I walked into tomato mayhem, trying to untangle them. One of the pineapple guavas is in full flower. And everything is so green. This screaming, very much done on purpose, I take it in front of the open door to my bedroom, belongs to a creature that I want to both cuddle and kill. The edible dormouse is both cute and contemptible, not only because of the nerve-wracking noise. We are in direct competition when it comes to the fruit in my garden. Apricots, peaches. Almost without fail, it beats me to it, playing unfair, because it goes after the prize just before it is ripe to pick. It's hard to hate them with a face like that. But I keep reminding them that their name says that they are edible. The Romans did cook them. And when in Rome, adjacent lands, do as the Romans do, I warn. And go ignored. A whole family has been living under my roof since before I bought the house, so I guess they look at the place as theirs. My little oratory is really the heart of the Hermitage. It took me a while to finish it, though I still see things I would like to improve, even paintings I would alter. Everything is a process, I guess. Everything is temporary. There is no temple on this earth worthy of the dignity of him who comes to dwell in it. Be it a grand cathedral, a little room, or more profoundly, the human heart.
Orate fratres.
Nothing is worthy. But he who deigned to come into a stable in Bethlehem will come nonetheless and lead us on to the temple that is in the heavenly Jerusalem.
Omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Dominus vobiscum et cum spiritu tuo, suosum corda, habemus ad Dominum, gratias agamus, Domino Deo nostro, dignum et justum est. Vere dignum et justum est cum et salutare, nos tibi semper vique gratias agere, Domine sancta Pater omnipotens aeterne Deus, qui cum unicenitur Filio Tuo et Spiritus Sancto unos est Deus, unos est Dominus, non in unius singularitate persone, sed in unius Trinitate substantiae, quod enim de Tua gloria revelante decredimus, hoc de Filio Tuo, hoc de Spiritus Sancto, sine differentia discretionis sentimus, ut in confessione vere semper in aquae Deitatis, et in personis propietas, et in essentia unitas, et in majestate adoretur qualitas. Quam laudant angeli atque ac angeli, cherubim quoque ac seraphim, qui non cessant clamare quotidie, una voce dicentes, Sanctus, Sanctus, Sanctus Dominus Deus Sabaoth, plenis sunt celi et terra gloria Tua, Hosanna in excelsis, benedictus qui venit in nomine Domini, Hosanna in excelsis.
July was another month that afforded me little time in the Hermitage. I was only here for a few days to recharge between scout camps and youth work. This year I was invited to serve students from LSU on pilgrimage in Italy. I really have to commend the group. While I was melting like a wax candle, none of them ever complained about the sweltering heat in Rome, Liguria, and Tuscany. I guess 100 degrees with 70% humidity for people from Louisiana is really taking a break from an even harsher weather. I'm happy to join them again next year, hoping for more bearable conditions in France and northern Italy. Go Tigers! The first tadpoles have completed their transition. Good luck out there, and come again. If I'm somewhat correct with due simplifications, there are three conceptions of religion. They differ markedly, but they also have things in common. Religions come with an ethical system. That is not surprising. An ethical system would be needed simply by the fact that we as humans are social creatures. And because society cannot function without the same fundamental rules, these systems, at least regarding the basics, are usually not worlds apart. In most religions and philosophies, it is, for example, frowned upon to stick a knife into your fellow man. It is discouraged, if for no other reason, some would argue, that you cannot have a flourishing society if you always have to watch your back. Where religions may differ regarding this rule is who counts as your fellow man. Is it anyone? Even your enemy? Is a woman? Do you extend the same treatment to your kin and to a stranger? Religions have different answers, some more tribal, some more universal. But aside from these general rules for communal living, they differ also with respect to their core religious practice. And I find that difference illuminating and noteworthy. To paint with a broad brush, the more philosophical, ethical conceptions of religion typically pursue some kind of knowledge and the learning of techniques. Your aim is to master a practice and through the practice advance on a given path of illumination and virtue. You may learn how to quiet down and to tap into the great nothingness beyond. You may learn to unlock energies and acquire knowledge on how to unblock their flow. So it is, for the most part, a human effort that produces results. You are the author of your own salvation. That makes these conceptions particularly attractive nowadays to modern people in the West. The old nature religions of the polytheists, on the other hand, stem from a wilder, untamed world. They emphasize the fragility of life and the seeming capriciousness of the powers beyond man. Hence, religious practice was chiefly concerned with ensuring the safeguarding and flowering of the community through sacrificing to the gods. You give to the deity, and the deity turns to you with favor. In some of these religions, the exchange may even be necessary for both. The gods depend on being worshipped. The gods may even diminish if their servants stopped with their sacrificing, dooming both. One could call it a needs-based economy between gods and men. The adherents of the transcendent one God cannot approach him in that way. They cannot give anything to God that is not already God's to begin with. After all, he is the source, creator and sustainer of all in every moment. Further, this God is infinite. He cannot be simply attained through learning or with the quasi-mechanical success of mastering a certain meditation technique. He is beyond the grasp of mortal man. He is beyond the grasp of anyone. If indeed he can be known any more than as an intellectual abstraction, as a first cause or unmoved mover, it is because he makes himself known. He extends himself to man, and it is him that thereby establishes a relationship. By the way, I've been calling this God he and him for a while now, even though he obviously cannot be male or female for that matter. These categories pertain to physical beings that possess a successful strategy for reproduction in mixing and remixing DNA. There's a reason for why nonetheless these pronouns are fittingly used, but I fear that goes beyond the scope of this short discourse. Now, someone might say, hold on, how can your differentiation be true? Doesn't Judaism also have sacrifices? And does not even Christianity? So how is that different from the polytheist religions? Well, in transcendent monotheism, sacrifice has a different meaning. Here it is not the object of a trade, but the attempt at a fitting expression of man's response to the relationship God offers. The sacrificial lamb is not slain because God benefits from its burning fat in any way. It is slain because in a shepherd culture, the first, best and most precious possession on which the very livelihood of shepherds depends, is the sheep. To give the first and best, as it were, to God, means to place God above oneself, to recognize oneself as a creature, to manifest the proper relationship, to express devotion and love. That is why a small coin by a poor widow is more praiseworthy according to the Gospels than a huge sum given from the excess of the rich. Though lesser in objective worth, it has a greater value in terms of devotion and love, because it means more to the person. But more importantly, this is not done because it establishes an entitlement to receive some benefit. It is true that even people of a monotheistic faith at times approach such actions with the intention of bargaining. I give to you, but then you, God, give to me. It can also be heard in the frustrated exclamation, how could this bad thing happen to me? Have I not always done this or that godly thing? But this really is an aberration from the creed. As a creature, I have no claims on the Creator. If my life lasts 1 day or 100 years, there is no injustice either way. Because in both cases, the life given is an immeasurable gift that I'm not owed, but that is freely bestowed, and that ought therefore to be received with humility and praise. It is true we might fall short of this view that begins and ends with gratitude, for there is a little pagan lurking even in those professing the one true God, fountain of all goodness. Another may ask, but what about techniques and practices? Can they not also be found in the transcendent monotheistic conception? Yes, there is prayer, there is meditation. But again, it is not by the mastery of the technique that God is reached. But at best, these techniques help to create space in which God may reveal himself, not out of a mechanical necessity, but if he so chooses. They may create the silence in which the noise of the world no longer drowns out the quiet voice of God. The Judeo-Christian religion is about a relationship, nothing earned through a trade, nothing attained through technique. It is about love freely given, love extending itself towards man and man responding to that love, however inadequately, with his own. This relationship is not established by man, but by God. It is a gift. It is grace. I think here lies the chief challenge of the Judeo-Christian religion, that which makes it easy and hard at the same time. Techniques and knowledge can be gained by applying oneself. It's chipping away at something. It's in a way self-sufficient. It is also suitable to customization. You give it the space you want. Offering sacrifice, on the other hand, to capricious powers in exchange for benefits, as in a classic polytheist religion, lacks the sureness of such a path. It is still about what you do, but to some degree, because of the capriciousness of the powers, it may fail to produce the result you hope for. What I find striking is that those two approaches, the ethical-philosophical and the polytheist, are in a final, though admittedly crude analysis, centered on the self, the me, the what I do, the what I can get. Love, on the other hand, is not about the self. Love is about the other. And this particular love is something fundamentally gifted, something in which I'm unequal, inadequate, unable to point to my achievements as establishing some special dignity, a right, or something owed. That is what makes it hard for many. I cannot produce mutual love, even if I try. The only way to attain it is to receive it and then respond, however imperfectly. This religious conception, then, is not about becoming a spiritual master or the builder of the biggest temple for this particular deity the world has ever seen. It is about becoming a child which feels unending gratitude for what is freely given and never ceases to marvel at the goodness of the giver. It is about becoming a child of God.